What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome for the first time. We are going to be customizing a figure, and not just any figure. We're going to be making a custom Helldiver figure out of a G.I. Joe, so stick around. Bam! So there we have it. G.I. Joe Robert Grunt Graves is going to be our designated Helldiver. If you haven't played Helldivers 2, it is just magnificent. One of the best games I have played in a long time, and I felt compelled to make a custom Helldivers figure. So we have a pretty good canvas here with Robert Grunt Graves. He has a helmet. That is what inspired me to make this figure, is that helmet. It is just fantastic. And I went ahead and grabbed something else too. Had to have a cape, so I went on eBay and found one from GPS Lot. That is GPS Lot on eBay. Make sure and look those guys up. Magnificent. We're going to add this to the figure along with a custom paint job, and it is just going to be tremendous. Let's go ahead and open this figure up and see what we're working with. So if you haven't already, make sure and smash that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It really helps, and I really appreciate it. Make sure and check out all the links in the description of this video and all the videos for my social media accounts. Make sure and share the video if you feel so compelled, and turn the notification bells on, and I really appreciate it. And there we have a little bit more on the table than the last time you were here. So here we have Robert Grunt Graves inside the package, and they always come with a great footlocker. But some other things you're going to need also is some black wash that's going to be used at the end. We have some brushes here. They're going to be used for various different things, from adding little bits of metallic paint to, symbolize weathering. And we're going to be using some of these magnificent painter's pans. And of course, we're going to be using the ultra matte black spray paint to give this green just a complete black over, because from Helldivers, as we know, the color scheme is black and yellow, so we're going to try to keep it traditional, but maybe add a little bit of touch of my own thing in there, because in the game you can customize your own armor and stuff like that up to a point. You can mix and match all kinds of stuff. So let's go ahead and see if we can find that helmet in here just to see what exactly we're working with. A little bit of stuff there. There we go. Nice. Probably not going to use that, but it'll look good on the thing anyway. So that's what inspired me to make this custom Helldivers figure. That is just a great helmet, and it's going to look magnificent with some yellow stripes down. It's even got the rebreathers on the side there. So, I mean, bam, we're in business. And there is Robert Graves out of the box. A tremendous figure. Definitely your standard military kit. Got pouches, ammo pouches, and he has a little thing on here that I'm going to be used to call in the stratagems. So that is just magnificent also. And some of his stuff, he also has a helmet that goes on his head there. Probably not going to be using that too much. Obviously the helmet, like I said in the beginning, a backpack, and some weaponry here that is just going to look absolutely tremendous. Everything that G.I. Joe puts out from Hasbro is just magnificent. I think it's everything in there. So let's go ahead and start this process. And there's Robert Graves fully kitted out. I mean, this is a really great action figure. Hasbro makes some really great figures, especially the G.I. Joe, which they own the full license to, so you can really tell it with the G.I. Joe action figures. I mean, that looks outstanding. Let's get customizing and strip all of this off. So now that we've got all of that stripped off, we're going to be go ahead and giving this figure a hot water bath. And what that's going to do is going to loosen up the limbs so we can remove the legs, remove the arms, remove the head, and slide all of this armor, all of this leathery stuff off so it can be painted. And while I'm waiting for the water to boil, we might as well go ahead and check out the cape that we got here off eBay. So it is made of kind of a plasticky kind of thing. So it does have some wiring on it. So it is very posable. It does have some weathering on there. Just going to look fantastic on this Helldiver. Let's go ahead and get this guy apart. So I managed to get the head off relatively easy, but the arms and limbs are going to be another different story. But the cape is going to be going on something like this, where it has that wire on there. It's going to just look outstanding tucked up underneath of his little plate carrier here, and it's going to look something like that. And with the wire, it's going to be able to go out like that and just be bent in all kinds of different directions. Just going to look fantastic. Okay, so everything is still quite warm here, but definitely very easy to get apart. As you can see, all of the bits of armor and pouches and everything just came off with relative ease and looks magnificent, and is now ready to paint. I'm going to let it dry just a little bit longer just so it's definitely not wet for the paint job. And there's the body, as you can see, ready for the black paint that we're going to ultra matte with this great Rust-Oleum here. So let's go ahead and start this process. Everything may need to be alcohol just to get some fingerprints off, and you're definitely going to want to wear gloves. But let's go ahead and get this process going. Okay, so back indoors, we finally chose a great metallic color that we're going to be painting the armor in quotation marks, because I know not all of it's armor, but it's going to be armor when I'm done with it. So definitely the plate carrier and this little pouches here for the ammo, the pistol belt, and all kinds of great, wonderful things is going to be spray painted in this wonderful metallic Rust-Oleum. So let's shake it up and take it outside. Okay, so after just about 24 hours, most all of the pieces are just about ready to go. Now, I have been taking a cloth as it's been drying and doing just a light bit of rubbing to try and rub that shininess off and to give it some wear look, and to maybe try and bring out just a little bit of the green that was underneath of it out, just so it has a little bit of a worn look. The helmet has turned out great, though. As you can see, the tape is still on there. I'm waiting for it to dry. As you can see, the rub marks there. I'm going to fill those in with some silver and a light brush to give it that stroke look, the weathered look, and then I'm going to give it the classic yellow double stripes down the side there. But everything is coming along great. Let's go ahead and look at the quote-unquote armor pieces that we're going to have here. As you can see, everything has dried very well. Everything is looking fantastic. Now, these are going to be the parts that are going to get the game wash the most. We're going to go ahead and turn these into what is going to be look like worn armor, and then we're going to hopefully try and get the Super Earth skull on the front there and get everything looking Helldiverish. This is getting so exciting. I'm so excited to get this figure done, to get the cape on and all that kind of stuff. So now I guess what we're going to do is we're going to start weathering the armor a little bit, but then after that we're going to take some of this matte finish sealer and spray paint the body parts and all of that, just to coat everything to get it sealed up so we don't lose any of that pretty color that we're going to put on here and everything stays intact as it should. So I kind of got ahead of myself there. So what we're going to want to do first is we're going to want to add the yellow accent first, because the pouches are going to obviously have the famous yellow accent like the Helldiver. So we're going to do the straps and these outside straps here in yellow, and then we're going to darken the inside there. So it just has that corresponding color pattern of the black and yellow and the metallic armor. So we're going to just take this yellow painter's pen here, shake it up real good, press the tip down, and we're going to just hit these spots here with the yellow and just fill it in. As you can see, it's pretty close to the Helldiver's yellow. Looks pretty good to me. I'm going to call it. So I like that. Just make sure that you don't get it on a lot of stuff. If you do, make sure it has some alcohol ready. Make sure it has some towels ready to go ahead and rub that off. Hopefully the towels won't leave any residue behind. Make sure you have the ones that specifically don't leave the residue behind. So you're just going to want to go ahead and tap those in there and fill it in. As you can see, it comes along very nicely, just like that. Okay, and there is a strap painted yellow. So the best way I've found to paint these kind of things is just to put it around a finger that fits, and then we're going to be doing the strap as well. So we're just going to be filling that in with yellow, as you can see, so you can kind of wear it on your finger like a ring, and it gives you a really, really steady workplace to get that yellow all on there. Nice and smooth, nice even taps, and you don't have to worry about getting it on, especially if you're wearing gloves. You can get it all over there and then wipe it off when you're finished. Okay, so as you can see, the yellow band around it has been painted and is ready to go. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be weathered anyway. So, you can leave a little bit of silver showing just to show that, it's kind of been painted. So it's very nice. We're going to put a nice coat of game wash over it anyway. But that is the process that you're going to be doing for the other straps. Just giving it some touch and pizzazz as you go to make it look original. So the gun belt, we're going to have a lot of creative freedom with it. We're not going to paint the whole belt yellow. We're going to just give it some of these accents here, paint some of those yellow, paint the belt maybe, and maybe, trace around the outside of the holster itself, maybe even paint that little background there yellow. We're not going to do the whole thing in yellow, so we're just going to give it a little bit of tasteful accent. So maybe starting on this little pouch here, you can kind of go ahead and hit that little strap right there. Make sure you keep your tip out of the inside there, because you're probably going to be sliding things in and out. So just a little bit of yellow right there. I did dream that down just a touch, so we'll go ahead and clean that right up. Okay, so this is what I went ahead and done with the gun belt itself. I went ahead and traced the outline of the holster and just went ahead and put some accents. I went ahead and accented the bolts itself because there is a lot of detail on this belt for it to be so small. And then the pouch itself, I went ahead and outlined that as well. So you don't have to be really, really in detail, because once you do the game wash, you're going to actually be rubbing a lot of it off. Maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. So you're going to be rubbing in certain places. And if you see a spot that you went over with, just rub it a little harder, and that spot will probably come off or darken up. So that's the gun belt done. And for the other pouch, we are going to go ahead and do the same thing, outline and do the strap. So same principle, just go ahead and add some detail to the parts that really need the detail. We have some pouches here on the side there. We'll just go ahead and put some yellow on that and just fill in a lot of the details that, just use your imagination. Doesn't have to be picture perfect. Doesn't have to follow the exact scheme of the Helldivers, but, just kind of have fun with it and fill it in something like that. All right, so this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying to add the detail in yellow there. So as you can see, it went a little sideways on that one, but we're going to be able to clean that up when we add the black wash to it. So now all that's left is to go ahead and color the belts themselves. All right, so both of the belts are done painted. They're definitely very wet, so you don't want to be touching things too much, and definitely want to sit it down on a side where it's not going to be draining or running or getting all over everything or sticking to anything, because you don't want to have to be going back and redoing your work. Okay, so in this case, we definitely saved the best for last. We have a whole lot of stuff that we can have fun with here. A lot of things that can be painted yellow. You don't want to go very overboard with it, because you can cover the whole thing in yellow and then it would probably look ridiculous. But you have a lot of little things that you can stripe in yellow. I'm going to leave that plain because I'm going to probably try and put the Super Earth skull there. But these straps here in front, you can probably go ahead and color those yellow, or maybe these in the front here to give the magazine pouches. But, just have a little fun with it. Definitely color, some of the straps up here. I would go ahead and color some of that in yellow just to give it that accent, just to give it a start, get that artistic look going, and you can kind of scheme it from there. So just getting started here, I went ahead and done the top straps in yellow. I think that's going to look just outstanding. And then I'm just going to add a few more bits of yellow. Not going to go way too overboard with it because the helmet is going to have the two yellow accents running down the center there. But we're going to go ahead and just keep adding just a little bit of yellow at a time. Okie dokie, so it's still shiny from the silver, but it's going to be matted out very nice and going to have that blackish look to it, but it has the yellow outline, as you can see there. I'm really happy how that looked, and I really love how the outline turned out, and the yellow is just perfect. So actually, these painter's pens, this is the fine yellow. If you're looking for a Helldivers yellow, this is the one to go to. Okay, so the next step is going to be to hit the limbs and the body parts and the backpack with this acrylic matte finish sealer. It is one of the best that I've used. I've used it on quite a few of my figures. If you're looking for something to flatten out faces that are really shiny, this is the one to get. Shake it up real good, take things outside, and we're going to finish sealing it up. So just a little something to hit me before I go ahead and seal this up. I went ahead and took some of this silver, dabbed it on the knee pad, and then went ahead and stroked it out just to give it a little bit of a knee pad look. Then I'm going to go ahead, once I'm go ahead and doing the game wash session, I'm going to go ahead and add that game wash to that and go ahead and flatten it out. So just a little something extra to add that little bit extra to the legs and limbs themselves, going to the elbows too, just to simulate knee pads, because when you're fighting bugs and automatrons, you're definitely going to need some knee pads. And accents to the backpack, and we also went ahead and finished up the shoulder pads, elbow pads I should say, and the knee pads. So just some silver that's just brushed out, and then once we go into the game wash stage, we're going to go ahead and wash those out. Let's go ahead and now finally take everything outside. I know I set it up a few minutes ago, but let's head outside. And now comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and add the yellow and the silver-ish to the helmet here. This is going to be my favorite part. Going to add the double stripe yellow line down. I'm going to freehand this. You should probably go ahead and put a tracer down each side, but I'm just going to go ahead and freehand the line down each side, and then add a little bit of yellow in there, and then come back with the silver and then brush it over to give it that weathered, worn look. So let's go ahead and get it started. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and add the yellow dots to the rivets on the visor there. So just little taps right there is all you need to do just to get those kind of filled in, to add that little bit of coolness there, and that will do it. So now we're going to go ahead and take this straight down each side there and give it that classic yellow look. So just starting from the back, I guess, and we're going to just go ahead and flip it like that. So I'm going to call it right there, and just start right there and just take that yellow line right down the top like that. And I would say that's pretty straight, not too bad. Okay, so there is one yellow line done. Not too bad for freehand and somebody with really shaky hands. So I guess when the chips are down, I can make a straight line. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and start the other line. So we'll go ahead and just give the same idea here and just stroke that line right down the side there, keeping it as straight as we possibly can. Moving the helmet down as we go. May have went in a little bit there, but that's okay. It's in the back. So it's pretty straight as it goes, and it's going to go right down in that divot, and we have the double yellow line. Not too bad at all. All right, so the tape is still on the visor, so once we get that, everything dries, and we go ahead and hit it with the sealer, we're going to go ahead and peel that tape off. But that is what it looks like right there. I went ahead and added some yellow on the sides there, but that line looks pretty daggone good, if you ask me. So now what I'm going to do with the silver here is just going to go ahead and go right over that little ridge there. It doesn't have to go all over it because you're going to be brushing it around. So just give a little tap here and there, maybe somewhere like that, around the side there, and maybe something like that. Then you're going to go ahead and grab your brush and just take that and just stroke it right down. Take that and just rub it right into the helmet itself. It doesn't have to be completely perfect. You just want to go ahead and move that silver around so it gives it that weathered look. And then once you're kind of satisfied with where it's at, you're going to go ahead and fill what you want back in, and maybe even rub a little bit more off with the rag itself. Okay, so that be the general idea. You have some slight silver right there, some slight weathering right there from where you probably put your hands up on the helmet and take it on and off. You have a little bit right there, probably more on that side. You know, just little stuff like that, just to give the helmet a realistic look. So after we hit it with the sealer, it's going to seal all of that nice paint work in and just make it very, very durable. Not bad at all. Now that most of the yellow is done on the vest and the armor portions, we're going to go ahead and start the black wash on these particular parts and go ahead and get that knocked right out. I have a nice little plastic container here for my game wash, and I'm just going to pour some in there. Getting a little low, so going to definitely have to resupply here soon. So make sure and put your cap back on there so it don't dry up, and get your brush ready because you're going to be applying some black wash to these particular parts here. You're going to probably start with a small one since they're going to probably be the most difficult to get to, and you're going to want to have a rag handy because you're going to be rubbing the excess off. So let's go ahead and dip the brush in there. Just get a little bit on there and dab a little bit out because you're going to go ahead and come back and grab whatever you don't use and just go ahead and hit it with that wash all over just like that. And as you can see, it just seeps in there and adds that beautiful, beautiful tone to it, seeps into cracks and crevices and gives it that ultimate weathered look, because we definitely want it to look like weathered armor. We are Helldivers, we aren't Hell Sitters. So that's what it's going to tend to look like when you get finished. Some parts are going to be darker than others, some parts are going to shine through more than others also. So I'm not going to go much thicker than that. I don't want to over weather it to where it's just kind of turning black, but that is going to be the general look of what we're going to be looking for there. You can see the black on there very well. It stands out all in the crevices and makes everything kind of have that weathered look. And you can make this as thick or as thin as you want. This is kind of my happy medium of how I like things. So not bad at all. Moving on to the next part. So there's the other piece done. Obviously, it's still a little wet, and once it dries up a little bit, I'm going to take that rag and just rub that all around so it's nice and weathered and smeared around looking. It's going to be just fantastic. So obviously I laid the wash down really thick on that gun belt just because that's how I wanted it, and I think that's how it should look. You have some pools there, but you just want to just go ahead and brush those out, and then you just going to go ahead and flatten it out like that, as you can see. So just going to go turn it over, make sure nothing's pooling up like that, because once it dries up, you're going to go ahead and just move that around with a rag so it has that beautiful weathered look. So just going to go ahead and tap that all around. Make sure everything is not pooling up. Make sure everything is kind of circled around there. Everything is how it should look, and you're going to go ahead and end up with something like that. See how it kind of stops down at the bottom? That's the kind of a weathering that you're looking for. That's just weathered metal. It's been used on the battlefield, all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so before we get blackwashing this vest here, I'm going to go ahead and attempt the Super Skull white line, or the Super Earth Skull here in the middle here. So I'm going to do the white lines running across the center here, and just have it meet in the middle. So bear with me. Definitely not an artist. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there at the center. Have that line there. Have that line running right there for the white. Bring it over here, like so. It's a little hard to see, but it may come out a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that line all the way over right there. Something like that. So it kind of looks white there in the middle, and just maybe a little white dot there to represent the skull, because I definitely am not an artist and definitely can't draw a skull. So maybe something like that. It definitely doesn't have to be perfect, just something that kind of resembles a skull a little bit. Maybe bring that around there. That'll do. Not too bad. So I didn't really like how that white looks, so I just washed all over it. And this is how it's going to turn out. So not bad at all. Going to get some of that deepness out of there and stroke it out once it dries up, and definitely rub some of those distinctions out of there. But this is pretty much how my Super Earth Helldivers armor is going to look. Okay, so now it's time to get the black wash on the helmet, because this needs to be sealed up. We don't want to mess up any of this beautiful paint. So we're going to go ahead and hit this with some black wash that we have in the container here. So that's going to go ahead and just blacken all of that silver up that we did. We don't want to put it on very heavy because we're not looking to completely cover everything up. We're going to just move this around with a napkin. So just, or a rag, I should say, not a napkin, because that'll leave all kinds of stuff on there. So we're just hitting it very lightly with the black wash there. So just barely touching it with the black wash. And then we're going to take this little frizz-free rag here that we have laying around, and once this dries a little bit, we're going to just go ahead and rub that around ever so gently, just so you move that black wash around so it's not just sticking in one place. As you can see, if you do it too early, you can kind of just rub it completely off there. But if you just wait a little bit and wisp it around, you can get some beautiful black on that yellow like that, and some of that silver. See that, how the black just seeps into that silver right there? It just adds that metallic tone to it. That's what we're looking for. So if you just paint it on there, wipe it right off, it's going to escape some of that black on there. If you leave it on there for just a second, maybe blow on it, and then kind of tap it out. And if it's not quite to your liking, then you can always go ahead and add just another coat on there, like so. Just kind of tap it on there, like so. Let it sit for just a second, and just start tapping it like that. See? And then you can add the layer of darkness that you want there. So this helmet, after this dries just a little bit, is going to be ready for the sealer. So I think these have been drying for just long enough, so we're going to go ahead and do the same principle here, moving any puddles that we find all over the place there, because you're going to probably find some, especially down in those crevices. Just move that around, and you're going to go ahead and start to show that beautiful metallic tone there. That is very nice. So maybe we can go ahead and tone that up just a little bit. Very nice. Very, very nice. So just go ahead and rub that down. Just keep doing that like that, and you will soon have some very realistic armor. You definitely don't want to drop it like I just did right there and get any kind of hair or anything on it, because it's still just a little bit sticky. We don't want it to dry completely, because then you won't be able to move that black wash around like you want. So like that is what we're looking for. That is just outstanding. Like that, the gun belt is my favorite so far, but that does have some wet spots on there. So I'm going to go ahead and move those all the way around, like so, wisping it around like that. You don't want to sit there and rub it too hard. You just want to go ahead and wisp it like I'm doing there. I mean, if you want to rub it hard, you can, but you're going to most likely rub almost everything off. So you can see how it has that metallic look to it. That is what we are looking for. That is an outstanding gun belt right there. The last piece of the puzzle is done. Just going to go ahead and rub that off a little bit. Some of them I want to be a little bit more weathered than others, but it doesn't really have to be. So I do believe these pieces are ready to go outside and be coated in the sealer. Okay, now that everything is fully dried and put back together, it's time for the big reveal. I hope you guys are ready because I think this figure turned out magnificently. Drum roll, please, and we have, hopefully, the world's first fully articulated Helldiver 2 action figure, complete with the cape and all of the black and yellow that your heart desires. Now, he is fully articulated. All of the limbs do move. I did leave some paint away from the limbs just to keep that articulation smooth and all that kind of stuff, because if you do paint the limbs, you're going to definitely have wear and tear on that paint unless you get some really thick coat of clear coat on there and keep it all in place, and then you're going to have movement problems. But he is fully articulated. Everything moves as it should. Even the feet move as they should, so you can pose him to your heart's desire. The cape is just stuck up underneath the armor there, so it actually worked out very well. I do believe this guy turned out very well. Let's pose him up. So of course it wouldn't be a Helldiver without being able to call in stratagem, and that's why I specifically chose not only for the helmet, but Robert Grunt Graves from the G.I. Joe Classified series, because of this little rig here looks like a stratagem collar. Now the cape is fully wired, so you can pose it in any way you want. It can be blowing in the wind, it can be sitting straight down. That is the magic of wired capes. Now the gun, I did have to trim down that stock because it was very long. It would not fit into the shoulder there, but all of the weapons do fit, and everything is very articulated. As I said, the stratagem collar is one of my favorite parts of this figure, let alone the helmet, which I do think turned out pretty well. Not bad for a free-handed paint job, and actually my first paint job, fully custom figure that I've done completely. Let's keep posing. So I think if you've been playing Helldivers 2, you've probably pulled out your sidearm once or twice when the chips are down, so you can definitely do that with this one. We have a nice holster there that holds everything in just magnificently, and as you can see, the paint job is very good. I think everything looks like a Helldiver. You can definitely tell where this guy is from, and that would be Super Earth. And the running pose obviously looks great. The articulation on these G.I. Joe figures is just magnificent. I tried my best to preserve that articulation, although, you know, when you're painting stuff, things are going to get a little stiffened up, but that is just okay. He still has all of the articulation that we've come to know and love from the G.I. Joe Classified series. And there we have it, a complete custom figure made from the G.I. Joe Classified series, Robert Grunt Graves. Just a great base figure to make any custom figure out of, let alone a custom Helldiver figure with a wired cape. Custom paint job, looks magnificent. Here's the backpack, but obviously the cape is on. I may go ahead and put a hole in the back of the cape just to be able to fit the backpack and turn it into something better than that. But we do have some extra parts here. The helmet and the head probably won't be used too much, but not too bad if I do say so myself. I really hope you stuck around to the end of this video. If not, skip around and find some parts that you like. Maybe drop me a comment in the comment section, but definitely drop me a like in the a thumbs up, and drop me a follow if you feel so obliged. I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and for Super Earth.